What happens when you shake the rug? Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Ann Homick from Homick Advanced Chiropractic and Brain Sense Telehealth Self-Discovery Sessions. You are here because you might be a brain snob, and this is the community of folks who know that there is such a thing as better brainwashing. After all, it's all brainwashing. How you use it to your advantage makes the difference. Your brain learns everything you expose it to, the good and the bad. How are you going to sift it out and help your nervous system be at its best? So, welcome. I'm Dr. Lisa Ann Homick, chiropractor, and everything I talk about has chiropractic as the foundation. The philosophy of chiropractic is about how to save lives by showing respect and support to the innate intelligence and how it interacts with your physical nervous system, your brain and spinal cord. I teach people how to move the brain, feed the brain, and talk to the brain so they can have just a great healing experience. And the body is always dealing with stress. Stress never goes away. So we have to be ready. We have to be ready. We have to protect our reserves, replenish our reserves, and keep our resilience strong. And we do that with chiropractic care, nutrition, and stress management. So today I wanted to talk about Daniel Amen. I listened to a podcast because he just published a book called, here we go, I'm having a little brain fog right now. Your brain listens. Let me put this on pause. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Your brain is always listening. And here's the subtitle. Tame the hidden dragons that control your happiness, habits, and hang-ups. So he gave a great interview with Dr. Josh Axe. I listened to it about 2 weeks ago and bought the book. Here's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. So I bought the book on my Kindle and started reading it because I really enjoyed the interview. And he talks about how just a lot of things from your past, they build up even though they stay kind of quiet. But if you have a big stress later on in life, you're going to feel like you're rehashing everything from childhood on. And it doesn't have to be that way, but it was an interesting way of really helping people face their stress and acknowledge things from their past and acknowledge that they don't have to be the same way in the present. And the brain is always open to new learning if we expose ourselves to new learning. But when he talked about, or maybe when I was reading, he calls it dragons. Can't find it now. The dragons are just the repetitive stressors that we all experience. Things from childhood, things from adulthood. Times we felt abandoned, times we felt grief, times we felt betrayed or rejected. And the body memorizes these things. And the title, that your brain is always listening, makes sense. And I'm talking about in my videos to you and to my folks in the office. Move your brain, feed your brain, talk to your brain. When you talk to your brain in a certain way, you are constantly training your brain. And if there's something happening that you're not comfortable with, you're not happy with, you can retrain your brain so that these signals don't recur. And when I say signals, I mean the body responses. When you feel fatigued and exhausted and run down, when you're when you're feeling a depression, a situational depression, or just the kind of depression where you have no energy and you're feeling like the whole world is against you, your brain is thinking back to things in the past in a way to protect you in the moment. It's very efficient, and it's the primal primitive part of our brain, and it works. And sometimes it works too well. But if we recognize that, we can make the positive changes that help us deal with stress in a better way. And when I say deal with stress, just different lifestyle modifications to help you ease through these unhappy times and these events that come up. Stress is like the weather. We have weather every day. Some days it's mild and enjoyable and pleasant. Some days it's just treacherous and you need extra clothing, you need an umbrella, you need a shovel. And for those treacherous days, you're going to use up your energy. And on the milder days, the pleasant days, that's when we replenish our energy. So it's that up and down, up and down. Our life is always going to be up and down. So shaking the rug, that picture popped up in my head because when Dr. Amen was talking about his different examples of people and the stressors they went through, in my mind it always seemed to shake the rug and the old dust came out in a cloud. So somebody has a stressful event, somebody's facing something that kind of puts their life in upheaval, and they're dealing with it, and Dr. Amen says that's a certain dragon you need to tame. And when he's talking about taming those dragons, it's the rug. You're lifting up the rug, and all that old dust from times past have come up again. And you may understand what I'm talking about. Something can rekindle an old memory back when you were a kid, or when you were in college, or when you were a young adult. And you say, oh my gosh, this is history repeating itself. But it's not. It doesn't have to be history repeating itself, because now you've got a new mind. And if you've been learning how to move your brain, feed your brain, talk to your brain, you've got a new body. And the mind and body work together. These primitive functions help you continue. They help you move forward. But maybe the dust, you need to sweep it up a little bit better. You shake the rug, and all this stuff you weren't looking at. And I'm not good at cleaning, so I probably have a lot of dust under the rugs in my house. And when you say, oh, time to take care of it, we got to do some deep cleaning. And you know the saying, when you're trying to make improvements, you're going to make a whole big mess first. Have you ever tried to rearrange a room or clean out a closet? Everything's tossed out, spread out everywhere. So you've got your piles of, these are the books I want to keep. This is old mail I never opened, never read, and apparently didn't need to. And these are my piles of other things. You make your piles and then throw it out, the piles that need to go in the trash, and you rearrange the things you still want to save and put them back in the closet in an organized manner. You might even label things so you know what they are the next time you're ready to come back and clean the closet. But a whole lot of dust gets floating in the air at that same time. So, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. And you can rearrange that in your mind so you're ready for future situations. Because, hey, life isn't perfect. Things come up. Things come up that are beyond your control. But the things that are within our control, our ability to prevent, our ability to plan ahead, that's an important part of maintaining our health. The word maintenance is just a constant puttering and working on something. Maintenance means just doing little tweaks here and there to protect the longevity of whatever it is, your car, some furniture, your favorite bicycle, your favorite golf clubs. Everything needs maintenance. And if you remember my orientation video, I talk about especially the maintenance of the spine, because that houses your nervous system, and we want your nervous system to have happy shelter, a nice home to live in, and maybe not a lot of dust. Maybe we can clear out some of that dust. But remember, your amygdala and hippocampus, you don't have to get into specifics, but that primitive part of your limbic system is storing stuff to help you in the future. It's not good or bad. We don't have to look back and say, oh, this was bad. This was just a part of the brain storing information for later use. Now, you don't want to be a hoarder. If you've got 27 magazines, you don't need them. Maybe shrink them down. Luckily for us, we have internet and we can look at back issues on the internet. Isn't that fun? And we can get rid of the old and make room for the new cool things. So the dust is going to be floating around from time to time. Don't get wigged out over the dust. Just handle it. Just handle it in a positive way, knowing that it was purposeful, it's there for a reason, and we can put it back in storage again. And a lot of the things we do store in our brain, we may never need again in the future. Just depends. Just depends. But I want people to learn how to move their brain, feed their brain, talk to their brain. Should I say brains? Move their brains, feed their brains, talk to their brains. These are the 3 doorways. Simplified, a little more stresses in each one. Steps. Stress. We got enough stress. Different steps within each doorway that help your brain function at its best. And a lot of it is overlapping. And that makes it not as complicated. So if you are interested in learning more about moving your brain, feeding your brain, and talking to your brain, ask me for the BFA template. It lays it all out. And if you need more specifics, then Brain Sense Telehealth Self-Discovery Sessions. And always get your chiropractic care. Chiropractic maintenance is always going to help that prefrontal cortex stay on top of things. Don't let that prefrontal cortex go to sleep. It doesn't need to be laid off or pushed aside, because that is where you get your discernment, your decision making. That's where you do new learning. And if your limbic system is always in control, then you're in old learning. Serves a purpose, but we need both. We need both. And if you want my handout about the primitive brain and the evolved brain, ask me for that. I did a podcast yesterday about that very topic. Good thing I have my phone here. I want to give you the right information here. So actually 2 days ago, I did a podcast, and it's called Brain Snob Podcast on Anchor FM, and it's also been picked up on Google Podcasts and Apple and other places. But the title is called Master Your Brain or It Will Master You. So today's video may be a little continuation of this podcast. Check it out. I didn't talk about the dust under the rug in in that video, but I'm sorry, that podcast, but it's at Anchor FM. And if you type, oh, sorry, everything's different when you go from your phone to your computer and vice versa. It is, oh, it's not working the way I wanted it to. It's just called Brain Snob. AnchorFM.com. That slash, I don't know which way you're facing. Brain Snob. So if you're going to get the dust floating around, that's okay. Understand why it's there, and don't get too overly worried about it. Just respect the brain's protection system and how it takes care of you, and you will take care of it right back with some TLC. Brain first always, the BFA approach. Check out the other videos. Check out the blog, createpurpose.com. Visit the Patreon channel. I'm working on some projects there that focuses on the BFA protocol. And thanks for watching.